Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the USA Volleyball Show. We are the official podcast of USA Volleyball. I'm here with my main man, Severine, who is currently traveling the country, destination 10 out of 10. That's right. Sever, where are you at right now?
We're in Columbus, Ohio this week, Clarence, and it's been an awesome week at the men's NCAA championship. So I'm partial to Ohio. My brother went to Ohio State. I actually just graduated last week, so I've actually made a couple of trips to Columbus this year, and this one has been extra special. I think that they've done a tremendous job putting on the tournament, and yeah, it's been. I feel like it's the start of globetrotting a little bit. I know I'll see you in Denver a little bit later this month, so that's where I'm at for now. But it's like you got to play where in the world is Carmen San Diego with me sometimes. What's next for me is I don't know, probably heading back to California for a couple of days, hopefully, be able to relax and recuperate maybe a little bit. But no, actually we're going to be having the World University Games trials coming up on the beach. So it's going to be right back over to there. And then our indoor teams, me obviously being based in Anaheim, they are getting going in full swing. We announced the women's roster for VNL last week, at least last week in the time of recording. And then coming up, I know we'll have the men's on the horizon, so stay tuned. But it's always a much better gym when you have the athletes there. My office is much less quiet. Already have people trying the claw. Ethan Champlin came up and tried it the other day. So I have this little desk claw thing, with candy for high chews, and everybody loves to go and try to test it out and grab it. And then we had a youth club camp kind of come in last week as well, and all of the girls lined up to try the claw as well. But everybody gets frustrated at a certain point; they just want to go around the back and grab the candy out there. So looking forward to more of that. But that's me. How about you, Clarence? I know you do some globe trotting yourself, so we're still in event season for you too. I know.
This globetrotting in the state of Utah for the majority of April. That was about it too. Spent like a little over 3 weeks of the month there. First is the 15th, then I had a little stint in, where the heck were we? Where was I? Chicago, the Windy City qualifier. That was great. A little over, 1,100 teams for that. Shout out to the Great Plains region if I have not already shouted them out for that event. And then back to Salt Lake for GGNC 18s. And, we had a grand old time. I saw you for about a total of 2 minutes because you were just on the ground doing all what needed to be done from a social media standpoint there too. So always working hard there. Got to do some announcing, and now that event is over, we are getting squared away for Opens Adults in Denver. Cannot wait for that event.
You're always on top of it with all the event stuff. I mean, even when you go off to do announcing, I always see you with like a paper in your hand or something important. So I always am just impressed that you can kind of take some time to do announcing. I know you had your own little table over there with your setup, and then you were right over to the awards area as well. Me always bugging you, hey, who's on the all tournament team? What do we got there? So no, it's always great. I thought 18s went super, super well. I really like the Salt Lake City area there for that. And, some really high level volleyball for that whole stretch that I was there. And also just, all of we got to catch up with some of our U19 athletes, I believe there, some of their final tournaments and 18s is great. And I'm really looking forward to what I'm going to see at Opens. I'm excited. I've never seen Opens in person before, so this is going to be great.
Well, I was going to say, I hate to step on the gas and fast forward to what to expect for Opens this year, but it's going to be a very, very, very special year. As far as what we look like for registered teams, we are at a total of, and to give some context, last year Opens had a whopping total of 449 teams, the most it's had since the unfortunate the unfortunate event of the pandemic happening in 2020. So it's been a very, very slow recovery for the event. But as of right now, we are at about 535 teams total, blowing that out of the water to almost 100 more teams than we got in 2024 in Columbus. So Denver is going to be a special one. We have men's open division. We have men's 73s returning. We have women's open happening. We have divisions that have been missing over the past 4 years. So the growth is there. I heard Clarence also has a co-ed force team that's going to be popping off play. And during the second half of play, hopefully he can step away from work and Your
Are
man
instant
Davis thing.
sources saying that? I mean, where are we getting this information? Is this, are we sourcing on this?
Definitely inside sourcing. Apparently, this team's name is club name is Peak Athletics. I should have said past peak because we are well past our prime. And team name is still tipping. So you see that co-ed force team tipping right over the block. That might be us. We'll see. Yeah, gonna need to do some stretching there. I'm 30 now. Got to make sure we're not pulling any muscles there. But yeah, Open is going to be a fun one for sure too. So can't wait for you to get there and just really experience what adults has to offer. And going into Orlando on 26 is going to be even better. I already know. So that's the Open's breakdown there.
I hear you on the needing to stretch stuff. I like pulled a muscle, put it in my tripod the other day. I was like, God, this is just embarrassing. Around peak athleticism, and I get strains getting out of bed at this point.
Call that a ball cat moment there for you. Before you jumped on the call, I don't know why, but Curtis created this new phrase for the generation. So anything that you consider a ball cat moment is going to be a ball cat moment. Do we know what it means exactly? No, but we're going to be throwing it out there. Ball cat moment, baby. Let's go.
I love it. Well, yeah, no, just the last word on Opens is I'm super excited to see that. I know we're going to have great social coverage there, even if people can't attend in person. But if they are attending in person, I think they should make their way over to watch your team, especially with a name like that. But we got to see it happen. But
the bar will be open from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Go to the bar first, then you go and watch matches.
Great. Now I think it's time for the segment that everybody wants to hear, News with Hughes. Clarence, take it away.
All righty. And I think this is a very, very, very fun first update. I actually got a chance to watch this final and it was amazing. But that is it for the 2025 Pro Volleyball Federation season. A big congratulations to the Orlando Valkyries for winning the 2025 PVF Championship. The Valkyries beat the Indy Ignite 3-1 and are taking home the championship and the $1 million match for $1 million prize. I love that branding across the end lines of both of those courts there too. Big brand person, big, just moment of there too. And I think that final was very, very, very well done too. So great, congratulations to them on that as well. Go back and watch that match for highlights because it was very great to watch. Moving on to another huge congratulations to friends of the pod, Team TKN. Maybe a name update pending, don't know yet, but Taryn Brasher and Kristen Nuss, as well as Andy Benish and Miles Partain for winning the Huntington Beach Open over this past weekend. They were both playing so great and excited to watch them this season. Moving on to another event that we are so very excited to have some news for because it is happening in conjunction to the U.S. Volleyball Open National Championship. But the 2025 Para Volley Pan Am Zonal Championship will be held following the Hall of Fame on May 23rd through the 28th in downtown Denver, Colorado at the Colorado Convention Center. Watch the U.S. men and women sitting national teams compete against some of the world's top countries. Even better when you find out that all this is just free. All you got to do is find a parking spot downtown, which is the hardest part, but it's free. Once you find that, walk on over to exhibit halls B through E. And in hall C, you're going to see all of the World Para Volley happening throughout the day. So you don't want to miss it. Again, this is a free event. So come out and show out and support Team USA in your USA gear, or go buy some gear at the merch store and just support. But yes, cannot wait for that World Para Volley event. Can't wait for Opens to happen in conjunction to that as well. Also coming up is the 2025 U.S. Women's National Team roster has been released. That is right. Check out usvolleyball.org to see who is competing for Team USA. In other news, be part of a special night honoring volleyball's finest. The 2025 USA Volleyball Hall of Fame will be taking place in Denver on May 21st. Get your tickets now at usavolleyball.org. In addition to the 2025 Para Volley Pan Am Zonal Championship, like I mentioned a little earlier, the 2025 USA Volleyball Open National Championship is happening in Denver. Again, same dates, May 23rd through the 28th. All you got to do is come to downtown Denver, find a parking spot, and you are there in the prime time area to watch some high level volleyball. So come out and watch some great volleyball, not only over the weekend, that is the Memorial Day holiday, but over that weekday as well, leading up until Wednesday. This will be one of the busiest weeks in the sport of volleyball. We have May meetings going on. We have Hall of Fame happening. We have volleyball. We have pro volleyball, all in downtown Denver, Colorado, all week long. So much fun. Get excited because I know I am, and I can't wait to play myself. Woo! Now, let's kick it over to Steph Ryan with his ball cap moment. I believe you got a college recap or a college roundup to run us through.
Yeah, the final time for the roundup from Columbus, Ohio. Congratulations to Long Beach State defeating UCLA in the final. To get there, they defeated Pepperdine and then also Fort Valley State on the road to a national championship. I believe, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I think it's the first one for Coach Knipe and company since 2018 and 19, the back-to-back seasons there. So once again, huge congratulations to Long Beach. Really wire-to-wire top team from the start all the way through the end. The freshman sensation, Moni Nikolov. Some great contributions from Nato Dickinson, our national team athlete, mostly on the beach, I think, for NATO, but he stepped up in a big way in the semifinals with a 19 kill performance to push them over the edge and into the final. And then just, they did what we've seen all year long. They've just been the best team, and they've showed that they were the best team. And Coach Knipe has such a great organization and group there. I thought he had such a great answer in the press conference before the final, talking about how it takes a village to really make all of this happen. And it's not just something that you can just roll out there and continue to have. You got to put in the work to have a great program, and they certainly do. So once again, it's been just an amazing season to cover from afar, from the matches all the way at the beginning of the season when it was UCLA and Long Beach back in, I think, January. So it's crazy that we're already here. And the final time that we're talking about men's college athletics for the season, but we're so excited, as I mentioned, to get everybody into the gym later this summer in the Team USA jerseys and representing us on our age group national teams.
Very, very, very well said, Severin. Thank you for that roundup and a very, very great season. And now, before we get into today's episode, last episode, we welcomed 3-time Olympian, 2-time Olympic medalist. If I can talk today, that'd be amazing, you guys. 2-time Olympic medalist, Lindsey Berg, to the pod. We congratulate her on her upcoming induction into the USA Volleyball Hall of Fame coming in May. Like we said, May 21st. That is when that is happening. She shares what an honor that means to her, and she reflects on her volleyball career. She also talks about how she found her love for volleyball again while playing overseas in Italy, and much, much, much more. So be sure to go back and watch that episode if you have not already done so. Now, let's fast forward to present. In today's episode, we have another legendary guest joining us. We are so very excited to welcome 3-time Paralympian and 3-time Paralympic medalist, Kari Ortiz, to the show. Kari shares about coming back from retirement and the love of the game. She also shares a lot about her career, how she was introduced to the game, some of her favorite Paralympic memories from those medals, and also a few things like hobbies and much, much more that are coming up in this conversation. So enough from us. Let's get right to it. Here is Kari. I'll kick things off with a big welcome back from retirement there. Just going to get right to it. How did it feel to, get back out on the court and, being with the team again? What are all the feels going through there?
Oh my, it is super exciting and scary. And I mean, it's been a blast, like coming back and, I've been playing, coaching and doing stuff within the community, but to come back and sit down and see how fast those balls are coming at me. Like I've had my butt handed to me many times during these practices. So it's been fun.
And, what are you looking forward to most as far as maybe being with the team off the court, or, some of those old habits or old, bonding or old moments that you usually don't talk about? I'm asking you to talk about them here. So, what are you looking forward to most there?
You don't make me give up our secrets. Yeah, no, I mean, it's so much fun to have like so I've been gone for a while, right? But I've seen the girls. I've been around. I've done some, coaching for the developmental team. So I've seen people here and there, but like getting to know the new athletes and making our own memories. And I've been to like 3 camps so far, and it's been like I've met Emma and a few of the other girls, the brand new ones to me. They're new to me, and they've been so fun. And it's been like a new, I don't know, a new energy within the team. I've loved it.
Kari, did you get the bug during retirement where you're like, oh, I don't know, I need to get back out there? Was there a certain moment? Was it watching the team in Paris this past year?
Absolutely, it had nothing to do with Paris. It actually had to do with like playing, within the community, and like I miss like the level of competition and not having to tell people, hey, be right here or go over there. Never mind, I'll handle that for you or whatever. Like just getting out and playing with people who know what's going on, and like having that competition. Also, I just, I had a kid, like one of the reasons why I left is I wanted to start a family. And I had my son, and he's just now weaning off of nursing and all that great stuff. And like my body isn't where it used to be. And I want to kind of get back in shape and to get, and this seems like the best way to do it as well, is like doing something I love, something I can delve all the way into and get back.
Mm. You mentioned, obviously the goal, one of the goals and your intention was to, start a family. And you said you've been, coaching a little bit there too, but what else have you been doing during this retirement stretch?
Yeah. So one of the reasons why I left is I had started off, after my injury, pretty soon I started playing like wheelchair basketball at University of Illinois. So it was like a really very high level.
That's intense.
Yeah, it was very intense. And so I went there to training. And then from there, we went to sitting volleyball. Like I left directly there. I was doing both at once, and then started playing wheelchair basketball. And then I was doing, the warrior stuff, and then trying to create things within the community. And then I was like, hey, I'm getting older. I need a family. And so kind of going back and figuring out, who I want to be, who I am, creating my family. I think that's part of why I left. And then after that, I kind of found who I wanted to be, like, found my niche, and started working with Move United, which is the nation's largest adaptive sports organization in the U.S. It's an amazing organization. I get to help veterans, kids. There's no like niche. It's like it's all of us, and I think the great part about the organization is that so many, like, we have warriors and individuals with physical disabilities are like in high levels of the organization running it. So we know what people need. We're connected to, we're an affiliate of the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee. So it's all been like, I don't know, it's like I think I had to go through all of the other stuff to kind of understand and to be able to be where I am to work the job that I'm working now. So it is full circle,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Kari, would love to ask you more about sort of your role with Move United, and then also have you had any sort of personal connection stories, maybe people that you've met in that organization that have really, just been really good connections, and just, would love to know more about your specific involvement with that organization.
So I'm the director of people and culture. So I do the HR and inclusion outreach and connection with different organizations, and making sure that, hey, all of our policies are up to date, and that they meet the needs of the staff. Like, we want to make sure we have enough days off, and all the great little perks, and everyone's happy and moving forward. I think that for me, starting off in DC, that's where the organization's out of Rockville. So I started playing wheelchair basketball in the DC area. And I met Julia Ray there, and she came to Walter Reed while I was coaching and all of that great stuff, and helped us with balls, equipment, and I needed a place to practice. And so this organization kind of helped me on my way, like at the very beginning, to get out and play, practice, and to coach. And then when I moved on to the warfighter side of the house, they helped me with connections on, when people when Air Force came, it was like, hey, I don't know where we can get balls from someone, or where we can get, but that organization was always there to help, So it helped me personally, helped me professionally. And it's been the the connection that never stops giving. So I've
Mhm.
really enjoyed it. We're about to do a warfighter event in New York City for it. It's honoring American warfighters. And it's going to be at the Plaza Hotel. It's a kind of a big deal. So I get to be a part of that as well. So it's a great organization.
So how many events per year would you say you're involved in? Sounds like there's a lot kind of happening across I don't want to say across the country, but there's a lot like
It
kind of
is.
happening throughout the calendar too. So like just you want to give like maybe a rough, estimate of what that looks like?
I would say a few hundred events. So
Wow.
Moving Night is goal is by 2028 to reach individuals with physical disabilities, to have them to have the opportunity to participate in adaptive sports within 50 miles of their home. So, and we want to meet. We really want to do. It is 80% of the population. However, I'm quite sure by that time we're at 100, because we're like 70% now. Like
Oh, wow.
the goal, yeah. So for them to be able to, and it doesn't have to be basketball. It's just an adaptive, recreational opportunity, and they do everything from working with the Hartford to working with, different mom and pop organizations throughout the community. And I think that's the most important part, right? Being able to have a place to go to play. For me, with wheelchair basketball, I always had a place to go play. Sitting volleyball, I had to create those spaces. Like when I was in San Antonio, there's no place to go. So I had to go and create a place for us to sit down and play out of Morgan's Wonderland, And so it's just, growing that opportunity for other individuals is what Move United is. It's the grassroots.
Mhm.
And it seems like you do a lot of really good work with growing opportunities for individuals with your coaching. I mean, just looking at your resume here, it's so many, great places. Coach for Army and Air Force at the Wounded Warrior Games, coaching locally, as you mentioned previously, and starting the Paralympic military program, I believe, at the Walter Reed Hospital in Bethesda. Could you just talk more about the advocacy that you do kind of from the coaching side, and just, it seems like you do such a great job in so many different areas of kind of fostering the growth of the game in that area.
Yeah, that's something I learned a long time ago from Michael Frogley at University of Illinois. One of the things that he did when he was coaching us, and it's like when you have an injury, it's kind of like a new beginning. So you got to figure out how you operate, how you move in the world, and all of that great stuff. And I was lucky enough to be picked up by him early on in my recovery. And so one of the things that he did for those athletes is that while they were there, we would always have to go out and coach like the kids, teach them how to work with their wheelchairs, teach them how to do wheelchair basketball, which means we had to know these things. We had to learn those things. And so you're passing that along for the next generation to be able to then go out and teach these things and spread that along. So I try to, wherever space I'm in, to be able to leave that legacy behind, So when I leave, then someone else can pick up the torch of, okay, here's sitting volleyball, here's a program, here's how it works, and to continue it on that way. And especially like war fighters, as they're coming through, you're injured, you don't know what's going on. You give them that opportunity because it gives you, because sport gives you so much confidence, and it gives you the opportunity to meet other people, to connect, and that's something that's really important when you're going through recovery, especially.
Mhm. I think we'll kind of touch on that aspect a little bit more. I do want to touch on specifically the Warrior Games, and if you're going to have a role in that this year at all, or even just be present.
Yeah, no, not this go around. I have done Warrior Games or Invictus Games a billion, back to back to back. So this time I mainly do a lot of the small community programs. Not small, a lot of them, we have, Paris Sport, like the large ones all across, but inclusive of everyone, not just the war fighters or the warriors across things. So I'm not doing it this year, or yeah. Yeah, but the last few years I just did Invictus, not this one, but the one before. I did the Hague, and back to back. But it's you got to kind of rotate through so that people
Mhm.
have opportunity to learn, from different new coaches, and get some fresh air into it, because I was there for the very first one.
Mhm.
So I've been there. I've hung out with Prince Harry. I've done, the Obamas. I've gone through, Trump won all the way, all the way through with the Warrior Game. So it's been pretty cool.
Well, we're 0 for 2 now. I was gonna say I could potentially be line judging those this time around since they're in Colorado Springs. But I was gonna say I missed you again, man. It's not meant to be. You do these.
That's beautiful. That's what they had it at first. That was the first one, man. And so it's coming back. Yeah.
I'll have to line up the schedule as Clarence for you to be there the next time. The third time's the charm.
Yeah, I'll probably show up for that one.
Kari, just want to go back to your return to the team and just curious if you've how much interaction you've had with some of your teammates, with coaches, and just kind of getting reintegrated into the system, if you will, of kind of back into the playing mode and the practicing mode and all that. I know you touched on it briefly at the beginning, but just any kind of light you could shed on the interactions you've had with the team so far.
So I've been back to, I think, 3, almost maybe 4 camps now. And so it's been, it's the very beginning. I was like, oh, holy crap. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a story. This is between us. So we had practice and I was playing, I thought I was doing good at first. And then all of a sudden, like, they were serving at me and every ball was like shanking left and shanking right. And so I rolled, scooted over to Nikki and I was like, listen, I'm about to go home. I'm gonna pack my stuff. I'm gonna take you guys, take your little stupid sneakers back, and I'm out of here. She was like, you can't just leave now. You gotta at least make it through this one or whatever. And I was like, yeah. I called my husband. He was like, yeah, just tell them take their gear back. And we're just laughing and joking about how, but I powered through, and then the next practice was far better. But it's been some challenges. It's been because I always want in your mind you're awesome. Right? You're like, oh, I'm going to be great. And then when that ball's shanking left and right, you're like, oh, no, you're not awesome. It's been 8 years, but it's been fun. It's been fun getting to know people. I've had there's been a lot of change in how, let's say, for instance, we would go to McDonald's, back in the day, go eat at McDonald's. We would go, we have someone who cooks for us during camps. We have a great nutrition plan. We have a nutritionist. We have sports psychologists. Not, I'm coming from an era where it's like, hey, suck it up, buttercup, and keep moving, No, it's not that. It's like kind of, how do you feel? What's going on? How do you going to handle how you feel? It's a lot of things that, you think about. It's been a good transition. I feel a lot better about coming back. I feel welcome. Because I know you play, whoever, Clarence or I'm not sure who, do you all play volleyball? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So even as a team, there's a lot of competition, right? On who's going to be able to get on the court and who's going to be whatever. And so before you would feel like this adversarial kind of feeling, but with this team, it doesn't feel that way. It feels like, okay, we're all welcome. And you do what you do, you fight to get your own stats. It's not this person or that person. So it's been a lot of growth in the way that the team has taken on, what it is to be a Paralympic athlete.
The one thing we actually ask all of our guests on first time around of the show is how you were introduced to the game of volleyball. And I think there are levels from there to where we'll ask, a lot of this progression, to the national team. But yeah, what was that introduction to volleyball like for you?
Okay. So I played wheelchair basketball. I keep mentioning that. I played wheelchair basketball at U of I, and I got asked to try out for the U.S. Paralympic team, which is an honor. Like, hey, okay. So I went out to the camp, and it's like me and 2 other of my team members from U of I. I didn't get chosen, and so I was kind of sad, like, man, it sucks or whatever. But one of the teammates, Carly, she was like, hey, I got invited to play sitting volleyball. And I was like, oh, what? Yeah. So I got introduced to, so she's like, hey, I got invited to play sitting volleyball. Are you interested? And I was like, no, I don't play volleyball. Those little girls wear those little booty shorts and I'm Catholic. So I'm not doing that. Right. And, so, she was like, oh no, come on, try it out. And so I went to, the first camp. It was by, Mike Hewlett was at the time was the coach. And I went to the first camp and it was awesome. I got to sit down. It wasn't really awesome. I'm not going to lie to you all. It was interesting. So, you sit down and you play, and he's explaining to me, I have no idea about volleyball. And he's explaining to me, how to pass the ball. If it goes here, pass here. If it's there, pass there. And you got to move with your hands. And so one of the girls, and all of the girls are, and it doesn't look like it, but they're giants. when you sit down in city volleyball, everybody looks, short. No, they're like 6 feet, and I'm 5'4", just let you all know. But still, you sit down and, she tosses the ball out. It's my turn. And the girl sits back there and she serves. She tosses it up and she hits the ball and it comes at me. And I'm seeing like fire shooting out the back of this ball. And I'm like, what do I do? And I screamed and jumped out of the way. Right. And so that was like my first introduction to volleyball. And I fell in love with it because, and I always say this, is like, it's an opportunity to hit somebody in the face with the ball and not get in trouble, So yeah, it was just it started off scary, but it ended up being a great sport for me.
I was gonna have that motto at the bottom, the USA Volleyball mark.
Yeah, right.
I was gonna ask what hooked you and got you coming back into the gym, but it seems like it's violence, but it's fine with that. It's fine. Organized violence. It's cool. Yeah.
I curve that and say it more competitive spirit. We'll skip the violence part.
Kari, do you think that it sounds like obviously at the beginning you maybe weren't totally aware of the women's sitting national team. Do you think that awareness, maybe just speaking very generally, has grown and maybe that the team has gotten more popular since you've been involved with it? And just curious how maybe you've seen any involvement or evolving of the progression of like just some awareness of the team and just the general public's eye.
No, absolutely. It has. I think that it's from the time that I started, I guess that was right after Athens. Right before Athens, they left me behind, which still hurts. But so right after Athens, I started for sure. And no one really heard about it. Even the Paralympic movement, I feel like wasn't as popular as it is now. I think like once Beijing hit and London got a little bit better. I think each games it's getting a little bit better. I think one of the marketing campaigns was really good that I think London did was like the Superhumans or whatever. And it had like a lot of the pictures where it took away from us being like a human interest story and being more of, oh man, these are powerful athletes. When they started changing that narrative and making it more interesting in that way, I think that's when things started taking off a little bit more for the Paralympic movement because, people don't always want that, it's like, oh, well, okay, what are they doing? What is this? And I think that's the thing that brings in more people.
I think that's such a great point about the difference between human interest story to athletes. And if we can get more people to focus on the latter part of that angle, I'm really glad that you brought that up. I think that's fantastic.
Nice. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely been a great progression and seeing, even here's something that really cool that happened. I was in Target and I saw like this is back in the day. Well, not back in the day, like last year or so. They had the picture of, it was a wheelchair athlete, like sitting there in the clothes looking cool. And then there was a kid, an amputee, and I'm like, those visuals, I think that those are very important in especially coming with 2028 with the games coming to the US that we continue riding that wave to make sure that us as athletes are elevated.
Well, I mean, kind of segueing into a little bit more storytelling. I mean, obviously this podcast is all about you and what you want to talk about, but if you're comfortable with it, are you able to share about how you got your injury and how that aligns with the I believe the qualification or how the qualifications of being able to participate on the women's sitting national team?
Yeah, so I was in the Army and I came home and was hanging out with friends for the holidays. It was Christmas, and ended up heading to IHOP, which is the coolest place to be. So I was heading to IHOP to get some food, and ended up getting hit by a drunk driver, and I lost both legs there. So that kind of ended my military career, but opened up something for this new act of my life. What is it? Act 2, right? Where I got to, do wheelchair sports, play wheelchair basketball, be introduced to volleyball and to, be able to represent again in the U.S. team. So wait, so you asked about that, the history, and then what else was it?
Yeah, so the history and then how that allows you to qualify for the
Right.
sitting national team.
So for us, being a double amputee, that's no brainer. That leg's not going to grow back. I can't play standing. And I'm going to kind of, unlike other sports where like wheelchair basketball or whatever, you have different levels of, amputations. And so you'll get different point systems and all of that. But for sitting, it's not like that. It's you're either permanently disabled, a minimal, or, you don't qualify, And so minimal is, the very edge, like it's something to keep you from playing standing, but, you can't really, you barely notice whatever, the injury is. And so that's kind of how they do it. You have to have it, have certain, movement issues that, say if it's a hand, you're missing your hand to certain digits. Like I think it has to be like, you can't move your finger. I'm sorry. You can't move certain areas of the hand, or there are certain digits that are affected, or you're missing it up to a certain point in order to be there, or if it's a foot, there's different flexion that you can't make it to. So like it'll be stiff, like you can't move the foot at all, or you can move it only to a certain degree. So those are the kind of differences that allow you to be on the team or not.
Do you remember what it was sort of like when you first started to play sports after your injury, would be it wheelchair basketball or sitting volleyball? And the second part of that question would be, do you have any advice to maybe other people who are on the fence about trying to pick up a sport in a similar situation, and words of encouragement that you would give them?
Yeah, man, when I first started, I think that one of the coolest things was I started right out of I was still in the hospital. Like, so my mom introduced me to one of her friends who was a lawyer, but he was in a wheelchair. And I was like, oh, I never really even noticed I didn't pay attention that he was in a wheelchair. I don't know why I never clicked that, besides being a lawyer, he was also in a chair. But he came over and he was like, hey, come try basketball with me. And so I was still in the hospital chair. And so I went to one of his practices, and that was in DC. And he was, he's like, hey, try it out. And I played basketball my whole life. Like I was a baller. My mom coached basketball. Like, so I was like, I don't want to hurt these disabled people's feelings, cause I'm a baller, and they all in their chairs, and this is my mind. Right. And so I sit down and I'm watching these little girls, these little kids like come and they're like scooping up balls and doing these reverse layups and all this other stuff. I'm like, oh, that's cute for them. Oh, right. And I was like, then they put me out there, and it was embarrassing. I could barely throw the ball up above my head, and it just fell down, and like my family was there, and I had so the little girl came by and my ball didn't make it to the basket. It fell down, and so she comes and she rolls and picks the ball up around her wheel, and then did a scoop shot and makes the basket. And I was all the way mad. Like I was like, you know what? You gonna do that in front of my friends, in front of my family, So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get good, so I can go ahead and make that little girl cry. I'm gonna get good. So I did get good, got way better. Whatever motivates you. Again, I'm military, so sometimes it's making the little girl look bad. I don't know, but I did get better, and that's kind of was my motivation to the sport. Was like, oh man, if she can do it. To be honest, it was, if she can do it and she looks like they're having fun, then I can do it as well. And I think that moving forward, for anyone who's coming out, is something. It's like, hey, one, you can do it. Two, it's a lot of fun. It's far better than sitting in the house and watching TV, getting, out of shape and depressed. Like, it's just try it. What do you have to lose? Right. So that's the way I feel about it.
Let's chat about some hobbies. Okay. I think we can touch about, a lot of, what you just said. I think, from what you talked about with Move United, you come across, such a wide spectrum and a wide, just a wide variety of, adaptive athletes too. So I think there's so many levels to even what you just said. We may be able to, circle back on a lot of that, going, towards the end of this too. But let's talk about some of the hobbies you have. You have your family now too, and, a lot of those good and fun things. And, we hear that you guys like to camp. Do you guys have like a fun location or a favorite location that you try to go to every year, or, does it change? Let's start there.
Yes. So it's my husband, my little son who just joined us. So he just started his first camping experience a few weeks ago. We go down to Galveston Beach, and what's weird here in Texas is that you can go and drive and park on the beach and camp right on the beach. Like, it's the coolest thing. So right now we didn't take our travel trailer. We have it's a Jeep. I don't know what it is, but it's a Jeep, and it's like a pickup truck kind of. And we put our a little tent, it's a pop-up tent on the back of it. And so we have like a little water thing off the sides and everything. And so we went to the beach and we hung out, we ate, we did all the great stuff, and then we just camped on top of the on the thing all night. So we got to hear the water, and he woke up, and like seeing his face, see the water as soon as he wakes up, and it was just amazing. It added 12,000 more layers to camping. Like, my husband and I travel across the US. And so we'll drive from, DC to Texas, or, we went to the Grand Canyon or wherever, and we'll go and we'll just camp different places. And I think it's just waking up to that fresh air, cooking outside, and then meeting all of the, the camping people. We always say that like RV people or camping people are better than house people because they're so helpful. Like, they're friendly and like open, and it's just been a great experience.
I think that's the Jeep Gladiator, which I saw a whole lot of when I was living in Texas. So everybody loved the Gladiator, so it's a good choice.
Yeah,
What you have to tell us is where do you draw the line on camping? Is glamping a thing for you? Do you make fun of the people who go out to the Airbnbs and they're like, we're camping? Like, where's the line? Is it you have to have the tent full set up? You got to set up the tent. Can't be one of those, set it up yourself kind of things. Where is the line for you?
So for me, I would prefer to always be in my travel trailer. My travel trailer, let me tell you about this travel trailer. The travel trailer has a bedroom. It has a Posturepedic mattress with a sliding, the door. We have TV. We have a kitchen, the bathroom. We have a bunk bed. Like, it's everything. Like, you're comfortable. Air conditioner, heating. It's nice. That's what I would prefer.
I feel like it have a second story too to this, what we're hearing.
Oh, it's wonderful. It is like it's nice. Then we have the the pop-up tent. I think that's the level that I'm gonna stop at right there. Like, I don't want to be on the ground. I've done it. So I'm former Army. I've done the pup. I have nothing to prove to any of you people. All right. I want everything to be cushioned. I want to be able to zip something up and not be on the ground. I don't want any bugs, but I want to be close to nature, not in it. So that's how I feel.
That's very fair. That is so sad. I can't argue with that.
My current TikTok rabbit hole is the people who kind of go out and they bring a bunch of different cooking, like 5-course meal things, but they're cooking on like a log plate, and they're just, building the oven and all that. Like, whatever camping that is, I want to do.
Yeah, my husband tries to do it too, but it doesn't turn out the same. Yeah.
The effort's there.
Is that you should
give him a couple more tries, be more.
I mean, we give him more practice, but it doesn't turn out. And he bought the big. So I don't know if you ever see them cut with the big square knife thing, and they chop it up. So he got all of that. He gets the ingredients, and it never.
Just start putting him on the spot and recording him. I bet everything will start tasting better there.
He'll start doing salt like this.
Social media.
What is the go-to camping meal that he tries to go with, and what do you end up going back to? You just say, "Hey, just break out the PB&Js. We're good."
No, he is pretty good. Like, you can fry up some steaks and veggies, and he'll do breakfast. He'll do some scrambled eggs and some bacon. He can do it. But when they do the chop it up and they put it on this pot and they put the different pieces at different times, and I'm like, camping is not we got other stuff to do. We don't have time to be coming back to no pots and thinking. And it's not about that. But he tries it. He tried it. Yeah.
You mentioned so many great places, and Grand Canyon jumped out to in my mind. But do you have a favorite camping spot that you've been to?
Let me see. Oh, so in Florida, it's in Pensacola, I think. It's off of Pensacola, and it's near a fort. I don't know the name of it, but I know how to get there. So that was one of, like, it's right there off of Florida. We drive up there, and it's wonderful because we can go, like, bike. I like to ride bikes, so we'll go bike riding all the way across. We can stop and eat, and you have this long, like, beach front that you can ride up and go down and around, and it's just wonderful. And then you explore the fort. You do all, like, I like places where you can do exploring, and have a good time, but then also go have a drink if you want. So, again, glamping is maybe me. Yeah.
It sounds like you're a proponent of glamping, and we're totally okay with that. I like glamping. Glamping is my favorite.
My husband would do a pop 10 and be happy with some. Oh, this is what he tries to do. He buys the the MRE kind of meals from, he'll buy those with the hot things. Like, he's so excited to get those little, I'm like, nah, man, I'm ready for you to go ahead and fry up some bacon and the berries. But he's like, no, proceed what? Yeah, no. These are cooked.
That's
Yeah.
And our other co-host, Steven, who you've met, I think he's more a proponent of pop-up tent and sleeping on the floor too. So I think they would get along too. But you love
hang out with him.
But yeah, what are some other hobbies you have outside of camping?
So I have two things that I really love, and I was like, man, I might go that direction. I love archery. So that's been a lot of fun. I used to take the kids. We go do archery when I was in San Antonio. Since I've moved to Houston, I haven't really been able to find the community for it yet. But I love archery because it's just you and the bow. You know what I mean? Like, it's fun. It's always feels centered and relaxed after. And then there's rowing. Rowing has been exciting. Like, I never thought, like, a friend invited me to come do it, and I was like, man, I really got into it right before I got pregnant with KJ, and I was really training hard all across the U.S. and doing regattas and such. But that's another one that I love. I love being on the water. Where I live now, we could definitely get back on the water again, and it's because I think I like those individual, peaceful type of things, where you could sit down, but it's physically active, so that's kind of the two things that I'm, for fun, enjoy doing.
I mean, a little bit of background there. You can correct me if I miss anything. We've competed in 3 total Paralympic games so far, earning silver medals in Beijing and in London. After winning the silver medal 2 games in a row, can you talk about what the moment was like when you won gold over China in Reno?
Rio.
Excuse me, Reno. Sorry, I'm in qualifier season 1, third, but 32. Rio, excuse me.
No, it was I think that, coming so close, the 2 games, it was, they always say, the silver medal, you win gold, you win bronze, but the silver, you lose again. You know what I mean? So you're on the stand and you're smiling because you made it to silver, but on the inside you're crying because you just freaking lost. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm better than you. Why is this happening? But to finally be on the gold stand was amazing. It was like, I knew that we could do it. And it was awesome. It was a total different experience than those silvers because you weren't torn. You were all the way happy, So it was great. It was a great experience.
Let's go back a little bit more and maybe just talk about your first Paralympic experience overall. What was it like when, you found out you were selected to go? Because I think earlier you talked about, when you first kind of joined the team, it was right before Athens, and it was an unfortunate feeling. And then let's talk about that first time, what those memories are like.
I really like the way you put that, unfortunate feeling. Yeah, that was well put. I'm gonna use that. But no, it was total devastation. It was anger. I felt betrayed. It was it was, well, I was hurt though. So in Athens, I had been training right before the games, but to be honest, I had never ever played. Again, I told you all they were teaching me how to even do like this with the ball or use a platform. So, I had totally was hoping that I was going to be able to go, with the thing. And when they chose someone else over me, I was crushed, and I actually got a little petty and was thinking, you know what, forget it, I'm going back to basketball. At least they wanted me, wasting my time playing this stupid sport in these little short shorts. But I ended up, my mom was like, no, you're going to practice. We're going to practice. You're going to get better. And then you're going to be on the team. So, we practiced, and I ended up getting, better. And, going, and once I was selected for, to go to Beijing, I was beyond happy. I was like, it was the culmination of all, not just my hard work, but like my mom's hard work, the people in the gym, because, you don't ever do this alone, right? Like you think you're alone, but you're not. So the gym does had no idea what the heck I was doing. Like, what do you mean sitting volleyball? So I'm sitting there throwing a ball, against the wall and hitting it in the racquetball court. And they're like, what the heck is wrong with her? But then people will come and sit down with me. And my mom would throw balls and they'll come and they'll play with me and I'll show them what I'm doing. And then, I started to create like a community around, getting me to China, getting me to the games. And so it was a great experience. And when I got chosen, it was as if that whole community got chosen because they did, it was a big party. Everyone was happy. And, it was I think it was my best Paralympic experience seeing that.
I feel like one of many things that separates athletes that play at as high a level as you have is the resilience and the ability to kind of keep motivation. Can you say a few words on how difficult it is to keep your motivation throughout a quad? I mean, when you get passed over and then it's like, it's not just the next year that you get another chance, you got to wait for so long. And just what was that like, and how did you stay motivated to make the team?
Yeah, no, that is 100% it. Like to stay motivated for another 4 years. I think for me, the goal was to get better, right? Be undeniably better so that you can't be looked over again. I think that was it. We have, so the games, you don't just go to the games, you have other competitions in between that, like zonals, nationals, all those other things. And so for each one of those things, you kind of create benchmarks for yourself. Like, okay, by this time I want to be able to be the best at this, or to be better at that. I want to hit this goal. I want this stat to be this. And, as you're moving forward and better. And then as you start meeting those goals, or you start saying, like, I remember after, playing against China a few times, I was like, I just want to be better than that libero. Like, you know what I mean? And so I would sit and I would go to practice and I was like, I wonder, is she touching the ball this many times? I'm going to do it a few more times. You know what I mean? Like just doing whatever it is to keep me motivated. I'm very competitive, I guess, is what I'm starting to hear from myself. But it's whatever keeps you motivated and you're like, to just be a little bit better, to push yourself a little bit more. I think that's what you need to use in order to go to the next step, to the next step, to the next step, and finally make it that 4 years. Mm. And I think not wallowing in the woe is me. I think that's it. And now looking at, well, so-and-so, because it was like a big thing where people will tell you should have been chosen. Well, I wasn't. So we're going to move on from here. You know what I mean? And just keep pushing. I think that's some of the things that you need to do. It's about what you can control.
Don't want to skip over your playing experience whatsoever, but do want to ask you about your announcing experience as well. I believe calling games at the Tokyo Games, and was it also Paris or just Tokyo?
No, just Tokyo.
Just Tokyo.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? I mean, that's so cool. I feel like you've done everything, every part of the game, coaching, announcing, playing, all of it.
Yeah, I try to see everything that's going on there, but yeah, it's been that right there was the most difficult thing for me ever. Like that was it was a stressful time for me because, we had just experienced a loss. Like, I had in going into it, I was kind of depressed because you got to pretend like you're, up and perky and moving and focused and whatever. And it's in the middle of the night. You know, and you got to pretend like it's daytime because it's daytime there. So you have to be like on it and stay focused. And you're like seeing all your friends, which was, I think that was awesome. Like being able to see my teammates, my friends out there playing and battling it out. It was scary because it was right at those were the first games where you couldn't say Russian team, right? So you had to keep remembering to say that team from Russia. And they're like in your ear telling you like different things and you're sharing all of that. And it was like trying to convey what's happening on the court, right? Listening to what these people are telling you and then talking to someone who's in a booth that's segregated from you because of COVID. We couldn't be together. So everything, it was like really weird. Like everything was sectioned off, your own area, your own stuff. The person's behind a glass who's talking to you like far away. And you're not at the event. It was a challenge. It was fun, but yeah, it was, for me, that was the most difficult of all the jobs that I've had. I've created events, I've created programs, I've done all that, but that one was hard. But it was fun. It was fun too. I'd do it again.
I'm gonna say, was there anything specific that you maybe learned or took away from that experience that maybe applying to any future announcing you may be doing?
I think so. I think that one of the problems I had was when they were we had to do some some interviewing, you know, talking, and they were talking to my ear and we're having the whole conversation with you know, the staff there on camera. And I was like, I cannot do this where you're telling me stuff and you're talking to so and so here. And like, I think being able to cut that off, I could do that now. During that time, I was like, oh, this is too much, you know. I think learning that. I think having more, I think now that I would be more comfortable in, you know, talking it out and not feeling like I have to talk real fast or, you know, starting off like the first game that I was announcing was stressed, but towards the end, whatever, I got more comfortable in it and it was more natural and whatever for me. So I think that was, I think started off, it's kind of like in volleyball, like now coming into the games, you know, I feel more comfortable, more relaxed going into it rather than being like, I have so much to prove, you know? Yeah. So yeah, I think it's the same thing going into it.
Wanted to ask another question about the growth of the game. I know we asked you one earlier, but just kind of looking at with the perspective of, you know, the Paris games had some great coverage, and then we've got the Women's Zonal Championships in Denver coming up, and then later in October, the World Paravolley World Cup in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So just we're seeing more events in the U.S. than we have maybe in the past, and yeah, just was curious about what you could say to the growth of the game and maybe where it might be heading, what needs to happen, and just how you see the growth of the game at this point.
No, I think volleyball in general has taken a leap, you know, in you know, the viewership and the people who are you know, watching it. I can even see like growing up, the volleyball for me was not like one of the main sports that we would be playing in, you know, in the neighborhoods or whatever. But I'm looking at like my son and his friends and, you know, they'll just for leisure out rather than playing basketball are, you know, they're going to play volleyball. And I'm like, wow, this is a different thing. We're looking at the different leagues that are coming through. We're looking at, you know, more opportunities for boys to play, you know, males to play. I think that's another thing. I think growing up, it was more thought of in my community of more of a female type sport. But now, you know, you're seeing guys from all over going out and playing. We got Marines playing. We got, you know, just I think that's something that I love is seeing the growth of the sport. People understanding, hey, it's not for the weak. You know, it's a real game. I think that looking at the coverage has definitely grown. I think they've grown each games, and I think that moving forward, I would love to see more teasers like now, right? More teasers now moving into it rather than right as the games are here. Oh, this is what's happening now, rather than us being, you know, proactive in, hey, this is what's happening. It's coming. And, you know, look out for it. Be prepared for this to happen. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, I think that, a slow and gradual introduction to it's not a foreign thing where people are like, oh, I wish I would have known about that. I think that that's something that I would love to see.
Mhm. I definitely think social media has been a, night and day game changer when it comes
Yeah.
to, just exposing the general public to adaptive sports and, the Paralympic, TikTok account, for example, is just reaching this new generation and they're just taking it all and running with it too. So I think that's just been a very, very good addition to that and just, just helping the exposure of, not only sitting volleyball, but like all of adaptive sports that happen across the Paralympic games too. So just want to kind of add that to touch on that. And, you talk about a lot of just, growth here and there and, things that, are kind of on the horizon, but kind of circling that growth question to you, that you're back in action, what are some goals for you going into this squad that you have for, the season?
I think for me, making sure that I get one back to uh the level of fitness that I, was, pre-retirement. I think that's because I don't feel as fast as I used to be. So, to get there and to get it, get my speed back up. I think that to make sure that I'm able to push my team, while we're there, to make sure that I'm you know, keeping up with my stats. That's the thing. I'm passing to where I need to pass. And I think that that's for me is just right now is to make sure that I am showing up to the level that I need to be in order to make sure that I'm helping this team to get in that gold medal again. So I think that's where I am right now. But I wanted to kind of circle back though on the social media aspect of coverage. I think that, yeah, man, I think that is amazing. You know what I do love about that too is that when we do the stories where the athletes take over, or when they are set a day in the life, or when they're sharing those things, I think that those are the really cool things that social media allows that regular or traditional coverage hasn't been. And I think that's something that's been cool, especially for people who like individuals with disabilities who are able to see it, you know what I mean? Not just for the general public, but they're like, oh man, I'm a double AM. How is she doing? Oh, that's cool. It kind of like sucks you in because you're, like, I remember seeing a amputee skier when I first got injured, and he was skiing downhill and he had one leg. And I was thinking, man, I would never do something like that. This is actually before my injury. I was like, I would never do something like that. This overachiever. Ha 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 ha. Then I lose my legs and I think back onto it and I was like, maybe I'll try skiing, right? Because I saw that and I saw his, his life, So I thought that's another opening that social media, I think, brings to us.
Mm-hmm. Well, you talk about kind of connecting this to your target example of, you're seeing the visuals and it's just things that I don't know if you were just not imagining,
No.
skiing, that's not something I would even do too. So just to, imagine that on, that competitive level at the, peak of all is just, you don't really know until you see it and, kind of need to know, think about those things, So, I think with all that being said there, I think you being back from retirement and talking about all you do for, Move United, I think you are, a very important voice, for, athletes, all across, like we talk about there too. But I know, you touched on, some advice you have for, athletes that are struggling to be introduced to, a lot of those adaptive sports like, basketball or sitting volleyball. But do you just have any, words of wisdom of, uh, an athlete wanting to take that next step to maybe be seen or recognized at that Paralympic or higher, adaptive collegiate level that needs to happen for them to make their national team, whether it's wheelchair basketball, whether it's skiing, whether it's sitting volleyball, any of those, because it's still a pretty high mentally strong level of confidence and effort that you kind of have to go into that. Do you have any advice for any athletes on those levels there?
Yeah, no, I think that one, if the struggle is in finding a way, or you don't know what you need to do, make sure you can connect with your NGBs, your governing bodies, or you can connect to Move United, and they can help you understand what it is that you need to do in order to qualify for these things. If it is in training, or if you're having trouble meeting those goals, one, understand you can only control what you can control, right? Those things that you can control. So, your mindset, your frustration, your nutrition, your sleep, your workouts, all of those things are things that you can control. And those are the things that you need to focus and get it and focus in on, and I think that those are, and then, don't give up so easily, because so many people, you don't get chosen on the first time all the time, right? So don't give up just because you weren't successful in that moment. You never know where it will lead. Also, I wasn't successful in wheelchair basketball. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be successful in something else. So also keep your options open to what it is that you want to do. So those are just, I think, some options that I wanted to share.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that too. I know we've been talking for a while, and I think we may have lost. Oh, there he is. Just talking about him. I think we lost Severin too, but I think we'll actually end on a little bit of a gear switch here. Just talking about Hall of Fame and how the 2025 annual USA Volleyball Hall of Fame is coming up pretty soon, and you were actually inducted last year. So I mean, what did that honor mean to you, and just that spotlight, that special recognition mean to you?
Oh man, that was so awesome. I think it meant, I felt seen. I felt like a lot of the effort and work that I put into the sport and into not just, so here's the thing. Yeah, into the sport was cool, but into helping to develop people in the sport, and the love that I had for it, I felt like they were just giving some of it back. Like I felt seen, I felt cared about, and not forgotten in the volleyball world. Does that make sense? I don't know. But yeah, it was awesome. It was like coming home. So yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And I know we're all very glad to, see what your journey is like going into things for this next quad. And, before we kind of wrap this interview up officially, where can people follow you on social media so they can, follow your journey and, message you on things and, keep in touch with you and what you got going on?
So I'm on all of it. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Insta. I'm more on Insta, but I'm on Facebook. I am on X, but I'm not really on X that much, but I'm on X. And which I think that's about all that I'm on. Yeah.
All right. Well, again, is there anything else that we may have left on the table conversation wise? I think we covered a lot, but any closing words or anything you want to, kind of say before we wrap up?
No, I'm just super excited for this next quad. I want to see what it brings, and I'm ready for us to take home another gold. So,
Well, we'll cross our fingers there too. And again, Kari, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and having a really good conversation. I can't wait to meet you in person one day. I know the rest of the team has too, but well, until our paths cross, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Big thank you to Kari Ortiz for jumping on the pod with us. Clarence, it was so great to talk to her. So cool that she's making her comeback, and we're catching her right at the beginning of that comeback journey. But just shared everything from her early experiences to, why she's getting back into it. And then, maybe my favorite was hearing about the glamping that she does, but the wheelchair basketball too, the connections there and being able to almost be a two-sport athlete as well, as I think was just, that's so cool to hear about. And it gets intense for some of those wheelchair basketball games as well. So I think that Kari brings a lot of competitive fire, which I think we also saw in our interview here.
I mean, all super very good points there. I mean, one total side note, just talking about her competitive drive. I mean, love where she gets her motivation from personally there too. And I also really love, some of the other hobby that she talked about too. I mean, in archery really, really stood out to me there too. And, in addition to that, I think she is she's, I don't want to say one of the prime people that you want to get out there and advocate for a lot of the adaptive sports. Not only just, from the individuals who are being introduced to these adaptive sports too, but the individuals. I told you guys I can't talk today, so I'm stuttering. I'm doing all the bad things. I apologize. But from that level to also the level of, I want to make my national team and compete at this level, at the highest level there too. I think I mean, she's it, from an advocacy standpoint there too.
Yeah, I think she has some great points about just kind of getting out there and trying it, and even she was talking about getting back into the swing of things this season, and how she was shanking balls left and right, but just had to kind of reset and stay positive, and how it sort of sounded like that when she first started picking up both sitting volleyball and wheelchair basketball, how it's not going to come to you easily right away, but you just got to kind of get back into it and stay motivated, especially at such a high level. And I think she does that. I think she is, as we mentioned, a great competitive drive, which we need going forward towards LA 28. And I think it's so great that she's back on the squad. And her whole perspective, as we mentioned, also being just involved at every level of the game with the great community outreach that she does, with the coaching that she's been doing, and then also even a little announcing that she did back in Tokyo. But she's someone who I think has seen the sport from every single side of it, and is still wanting to be very much involved with it. And we love that, and we need that. And I'm looking forward to having her back and watching her on the team as well, Clarence. I think it's going to be tremendous.
Yeah. I mean, she touched on, what an honor it was for her to be inducted into the Hall of Fame last year as well, too, and what it meant to her. And, that sense of just accomplishment, that additional sense of accomplishment there too. So I definitely wanted to acknowledge that and make sure, that we touched on that too. But again, big thank you, Kari, for joining us, for such a great conversation. And it's such an honor for us, to have a Hall of Famer and, one of the greatest to ever, play the game on this podcast there too. And we cannot wait to see what you do and accomplish heading into this next quad, or now that we're in the middle of it, starting portions of it, as we're in this quad, we can't wait to see what you do there too. So thank you again. Now, I think it is time to give a whole rundown of upcoming events on our junior side of things too. We have quite a few going on too, so bear with me as we go down this list. But up first, we have the 2025 Boys and Girls Beach NTDP Spring Training Series in Manhattan Beach, California, from May 16th through the 18th. After that, we have the 2025 USA Volleyball Beach Tour Great Plains, Nebraska Early Bird Beach Regional Qualifier in Elkhorn, Nebraska, happening May 17th. After that, the SRVA Championship Beach Regional Qualifier, May 17th through the 18th in Catersville, Georgia. All these beach events, and we're indoors all the time. Something's got to change here. Anyways, following that one, we have the Oklahoma Region Sandfest 2025 Regional Qualifier happening May 17th through the 18th in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Also, we have the Carolina Flyers Beach Regional Qualifier number 4 happening May 22nd at Sand Hills Community College in Pinehurst, North Carolina. After that, we have the 2025 Crystal Coach Junior Beach Regional Qualifier happening May 24th in New Bern, North Carolina. And up next, we have the Sitting National Team Development Camp happening May 15th through the 18th in Edmond, Oklahoma. After that, the Market City Sand BRQ Carolina region happening May 24th in Asheboro, North Carolina. Good luck to all of those teams competing. For all upcoming events and how to register for these events, if you're interested, visit our website, usavolleyball.org. Now we flip over to the pro side of things with upcoming events there. We have the 2025 Beach Pro Tour Challenge China, May 14th through the 18th. We have the BPT Futures Madrid Women Only happening May 15th through the 18th in Spain. Also is the 2025 World University Games Beach Volleyball Trials U26 happening May 15th through the 17th. And as mentioned at the top of the show, we have the 2025 Paravolley Pan Am Zonal Championship, May 23rd through the 28th in Denver, Colorado at the Colorado Convention Center. Be sure to check out USA Volleyball social media for the upcoming schedules weekly. As always, if there is a topic you want us to hear about or talk about, or a guest you want featured on this podcast, whether it's a national team athlete, a club coach, junior athlete, an official, anyone in the sport, we would love to hear it too. So you can always email us at the USAVshow@usav.org. Let us know how much you're loving the show, or who you want, or what you want us to talk about. And as a friendly reminder, new episodes drop every other week. And until then, thank you for listening to yet another Ballcat moment and another episode of the USA Volleyball Show. We are the official podcast of USA Volleyball.
This has been the USA Volleyball Show with Clarence Hughes and Stephen Munson. Produced by Curtis Ward. Our content producers are Severin Labenstein and Lara Fawcett. Our marketing lead is Bree Jaycox. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to rate and review. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the USA Volleyball Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.